Hi, this is DeRosa again, here with my next video blog. The question is, what's my response to sales objections when I'm buying subject to? Meaning, when I buy subject to, how do I handle the sales objections? Well, before talking to sellers, many of my coaching students of mine have asked me to put together a list of objections and the responses to buying subject to, so they know how to expect and what they can do to prepare their answers. In my opinion, that's a very smart thing to do, and here's the first of several common objections along with my answer. And I'm only going to cover one, but you'll kind of get an idea of how we handle the objections. I'll answer future comments in other blogs. First, you'll need to find, when you buy a house subject to, if your seller is truly in a distressed situation where they've fallen behind or they can't make their payments, they usually don't ask these questions. They just want out and they want a solution to their problem. They just don't want a foreclosure on their record. But sometimes you deal with someone who has good credit. They want to protect their credit. This is typically when you'll get these types of questions. But prior to that, if you're dealing with someone in foreclosure, chances are you may not get these questions. Here's an example. My partner Noreen, she worked with a nice couple who had gotten a large insurance settlement after a drunk driver had hit their car and injured the mother and the son. Now don't panic, they were all completely recovered, but they did get an insurance claim or an insurance check. They took the settlement and bought a beautiful new home on a golf course with a spiral staircase and marble entrance. But unfortunately, they didn't do the most basic. They didn't sell their house first, the house they lived in. They couldn't get their own home sold. That meant that they had to come out of their pocket for another $1,600 every single month. Now, I don't know about most people, but most people can't handle that. And this couple had great credit and wanted to keep it. So, what questions do these types of sellers ask? Well, typically the first one is usually, how do I know you're going to make my payment? Well, my response usually includes things like, well, you really don't. This usually gets their attention because they're not expecting that, because it kind of shows them that I'm not trying to BS them, and oh, by the way, they really don't know that I'm going to make their payment. They just met me, so they don't really know that I'm going to make their payments. So I tell them that you don't know that you just met me. But I do say I will bring X number of dollars to the table to paint the house, to carpet it, to replace the fixtures. We make all the repairs to bring it in. So basically the bottom line is, I'm going to have money invested in this thing. And I don't just walk away from it, because if I did that, I wouldn't stay in business very long. And this is really how I feed my family. Okay? So by kind of giving them an approach where, hey, I'm a typical guy that, I'm not going to BS you, they appreciate that. And then they may ask the question, well, what would make you feel, what I might say, what will make you feel better or more comfortable of me making the payments? And a lot of times they'll come back to me and they'll say, well, why don't you just send me the payments? Well, that doesn't work either. So, I've done that before, and that simply doesn't work. So I may say to them, well, you know what, how about you go online and check it, or I'll send you a copy of the canceled check. By that, they understand that, okay, if I take it over, I intend on making the payments, and they can check up on me. So, but if you really have no intention of making these payments, this is probably not the technique for you. You probably don't want to do this. By the way, if you're interested, my Building Wealth course, real estate course, has a complete presentation for you to use when you're talking with these sellers and what are some of the common objections. So, it's all the way in the back. And what it does is you sit down with them and you have a little flip chart and you go through it, and it answers all the questions that they may ask. But the bottom line really is, when you have an objection, there's only about a handful of objections that you have that a homeowner may ask. And what you need to develop is what we consider your elevator speech for each one of these. And when they ask that, you have a response tailored to whatever that objection is. So when somebody says, how do I know you're going to make my payments? You can whip out right away, you don't know that I'm going to make your payments. You just met me, but I'm going to bring X number of dollars to the table here. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to carpet it. I'm going to, pay your bills for the next 6 months. And, I don't do this lightly because this is my full-time thing. This is how I put food on my table. So it's not something I'm just going to walk away from. So one of the things that will help you, as we move along this journey, I have a little tool that I use with my homeowner that's a spreadsheet. We call it the Easy Offer Maker. And I sit down with them and I explain to them where that money is going, how much money I'm putting into this thing, and where the money is going. So they get a real hard number as to what it is I'm doing with their money. So they know that it's $15,000 or $20,000. It's not me saying, well, I'm going to put money into this thing. It's a hard number that they can physically see. And that's important when you're overcoming the objections. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to challenge each and every one of you to give me an objection. So at the very bottom, under the comment section, give me an objection that you would like me to overcome. And I will give you my elevator speech on whatever objection that you have so you can learn from that. So that's your homework. Put something down in the comment section of what objection you want me to handle. And the next video blog, once I get them, I'll put on, as I get them, I'll put them on there for you to learn. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much for coming back to the site, and I look forward to seeing you again. Have a great day.